LinkedIn. How are you? You'll see today that we've got a completely different setup. It's just me here. Pete is taking a little bit of a break. I don't know if you follow him, but he did 5 lives last week, one day after the other. And I know how I feel after one, so goodness knows how Pete felt after doing 5. So you've just got me today. If you could start commenting, just so that I know that I'm live, first of all. I did do one of these lives and it was horrific. I was talking for half an hour and I didn't realize that no one was on. So if you could say something in the comments, hi, let's connect. Also, we want this as part of you growing your network. So anyone who's on here today, can you put let's connect in the comments, just so that we can, you can start growing your following and start connecting with everyone that's on here. So we'll get this kicked off. Please say let's connect. Give me your questions. Begin with a QU or an emoji, just so that it's easier for me to kind of go through and find your questions. But while I wanted to give you a bit of background as to why I'm doing these. Oh, hi, Lewis. Good to see you. So I've got a recruitment company that I started 14 years ago called A Recruitment. And I started AE Academy a couple of years ago when there were so many people looking for jobs, but they weren't really getting anywhere. In my time in recruitment, I've been doing recruitment for over 22 years, and it's gone from like having 20, 25 applicants to 750 on average in our past year. So that's a massive increase. What I wanted to do with these lives is try and spread awareness about how to put your details across to clients, what they want to see, and also open it up so that you can ask recruiters, myself, and we can do the coaching stuff as well, so that you get a bit of an insight into what hiring managers see, what recruiters see, update your details so that you stand out. So let's give out a couple of mentions. Abdul, yeah, you're back. How did your interviews go? I'm dying to hear this. Talal, hi, good to see you here. Jennifer, lovely to see you again. You're here week after week. Hassan, Nizar, Anil, Bijoy. So get your questions coming in. I want to see where you're at, guys, and let's get this kicked off. So throughout the week, people have been sending in questions. So I've loaded them in, and I'll get that underway while you guys have a couple of minutes to think about what you want to know. So QU, I've used the CV writer, but I'm still not getting interviews. Why? So this happens. This is a common question that we get asked. So when we look at CVs, etc., as recruiters or our recruitment team for A Recruitment, we'll go through hundreds and hundreds of CVs, and you can tell who's used a CV writer these days. They all read the same. So this is why I wanted to put AE Academy together first and foremost, because you don't want to fall into that trap of appearing like everyone else. The first rule is you need to be different. You need to be you. Your CV shouldn't read the same as anyone else, because only you have the experience you have, and only you can tell your story, no one else. So we do get the odd occasion, actually, when a CV comes through that has been written by a CV writer, and you've called the candidate and they can't even speak English. So, that's another kind of telltale sign. But so CV writers are great if you do have a language barrier. But I think the beauty of recruitment and where the most success happens is when you start tailoring your CV to the jobs that you apply to. I have got a little bit of backlash the last couple of weeks about talking about CV tailoring. A couple of people have said, oh, well, Hayley, you're effectively telling us to lie. Well, no. So if you look at a job description, the hiring manager will be looking at education, dependent on how important it is to them, years experience, project experience, computer software. There's going to be like the basics that they're looking for, and you'll see it written out in the job description. I know some job descriptions can be really lengthy, and in that case, it is a little bit difficult to decipher exactly what that hiring manager wants because I think sometimes they just kind of put in a lot of different job descriptions into one, and that isn't particularly helpful. But if you kind of bullet point education, years experience, the type of company it is. So is the business you work for currently one of their competitors? If it is, then you're going to have a really high chance of being selected for interview. So it's things like this that the hiring managers look for. And when you start writing your CV, you want, I'm going to have to shut down Outlook. You want your career summary to have all this information in front and center. So when the hiring manager opens up the CV, they've got it right in front of them, bang, 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 bang. Then they can go into the rest of your CV and read into more detail about the projects you've been working on, whether you're a good fit for the company, etc., etc. But you want to make it as easy as possible for these hiring managers to go, brilliant, page one, I've got all the information I need, let's read on. And the chances of you getting an interview are that much higher. So let me just have a quick look at these comments. Question, Abdul. Hang on, let me just bring this up. How do I check if my CV gets through software, which are used by big companies who are getting loads of applicants in terms of keywords? So you're talking about an ATS system, and there's something called a parser. And this is part of an ATS system. So it basically reads through your CV. It doesn't kind of grade you as such. So I think we need to kind of move away from this, oh, your CV is not ATS compliant. ATS compliant is a bit of a scare tactic in a sense. But basically, as long as your CV reads line to line and you don't have kind of boxes all over the show, your CV will go into the database. Anyway, let me get back to your question, Abdul. So you can check this, and there's a little piece of software. What's it called? I'm going to have to actually come back to you, but there are online testers that you can do. So put into Google ATS parser test. If not, send your CV to me. I'll stick it through our ATS system, and I'll give you a grade of where it lies. Our system will give you a grade in terms of how compatible, whether your boxes are all over the show. Sometimes our ATS system does flag up no document. That's when all the document literally has images all over boxes, and it's all a bit messy. From my perspective, I would try and make your CV as simple as possible. And I think it's quite nice touch, less is more. Create lots of white space. Don't layer anything. Don't create boxes everywhere. But then when you get into the bulk of your CV, you can start adding images, etc., as long as it's not over text. So put to Google ATS system parser, or send me an email, send me a message. I will put it through our ATS system and I'll grade it for you and let you know. But in terms of keywords, this is something different. So when it comes to keywords, and this is why I keep coming back to tailoring your CV. So it's like if you were to go to a party and you met someone for the first time, you are not going to regurgitate your whole life story. If you were to do that, the person on the receiving end would probably be a bit like, whoa, this is a bit much. So your CV is no different. And I would kind of look at the job description and your CV in relation to each other. Do they match up? So you want your CV. So say you're an architect. Say that the job description wanted someone that uses Rivet and they are a capable user. They want somebody who works in hospitality, and they want someone who is a front-end designer, so a design architect and sketches. So I know that that might sound like two different job roles to you, but these are the requirements that we get from our clients. So what you want in the top section is to have all of those keywords, and those keywords to be throughout your CV. As a ATS system isn't as sophisticated as people may think right at this moment in time. We actually had an AI attached to one of our database systems. They are not that sophisticated. You have to have a serious amount of information going through these systems for users to grade regularly so that the AI can update. And you're talking about keywords, and this is when it gets into more AI technology. So I wouldn't worry necessarily about your CV or your details being graded, Abdul, at this moment in time. I would just make sure that you're giving the hiring manager or the HR team exactly what they want right at the top of your CV, so it makes it plain and simple. Oh, I'm really sorry, my computer did some updates. I hope that answers your questions, Abdul. If you have any others, I know what you're like. But let me know how your interview went. So, can I request your service for CV writing? So, AE Academy is very, very different from anyone else. So back in the day, I would write every single CV or rewrite every single CV. And these days, like in the last year, the average amount of applications we've had per job is 750 people. We cannot call 750 people just to fill one job. It would take us forever. My recruiters would not hit targets. And so basically, the AE Academy is all about educating you guys into updating your details yourself, but also, putting out your strengths so that there's no question about wanting to interview you. When a hiring manager looks at your CV, they think, yes, this is exactly what I want. And half the time, they don't even read the rest of the CV because it's all there on the first page. So you need to create this buzz in your CV. So getting back to this CV writing, I will not write a CV for anyone kind of, just the average Joe, if you like. If I'm not shortlisting you for a role, John, then unfortunately I won't write a CV. However, I have put together a very, very thorough course, CV writing course on AE Academy. So aeacademy.ae, and it will take you a good week to get through the course. It will teach you a lot about yourself, a lot about how to construct your CV, a lot about how to construct that career summary, because that is the most important thing. Your first page is the most important. So also, the courses, because of the questions that are asked, they are quite challenging. So they are questions that will appear in your interview. And you're going to have to think, going to have to do a little bit of soul searching when you go through the course, but it prepares you for the interview stage. And that's what you want. You don't really want somebody to write your CV, oh, here you go, and then nothing happens. Because that is, unfortunately, the feedback that we get from people who go into doing our courses in the first place. They've used CV writers, they've used recruiters, they've applied to every single job, but they're still not getting any feedback or any interviews. So, for me, AE Academy is about owning you, your experience, your CV, your presentation, your personal brand, how you go about your job search in general. So, yes, we do have services. Please go to aeacademy.ae, John. And if you want a further chat, please message me and I'll come back to you. Hi, Pete. Really good to see you. Oh, I'm missing you. So, Abdul, come in. It went good. So Abdul had an interview after taking Pete's and my advice and had an interview. Yeah, it went good, I think. Still waiting to hear back from the recruiter. They told me to wait till mid-June to expect a response. Right, so this is another thing. There's a lot of people out there right now who are going, oh, I've had an interview and it's been 3 weeks, it's been a month. And it does take people time. Even from a recruiter's perspective, we hound our clients. I can't even tell you. We always want to know how quickly, are we going to get money in? Have we got a placement? Have we found this person a job? And the manager's like, hey, chill. So my advice, if you find yourself in this predicament, is just keep applying to jobs, keep that forward momentum going, and don't focus too much on you know, sitting there waiting by the phone, waiting to hear back from them. You want to just keep that momentum going, so that you have like 3 or 4 jobs to choose from. And that's when you can start thinking about your salary and all these kinds of things. Do I actually want to work for this business? What can you offer me? What are the prospects for the future? So I would always advise just keep moving forward and don't kind of focus just on one. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, as we call it. So thank you, Abdul, and I wish you the best. So, right, again, if everyone could put a QU, excuse me, or an emoji in front of your question, that would be really helpful. Do I need to be there to be hired by an architectural firm? To be there. I'm assuming you're meaning in the country. So it depends. From my perspective, from a recruiter's perspective, if you have kind of a deciding, there will be a deciding factor. Maybe you have really specialized experience in a project, or I don't know, computer software. I mean, not so much computer software. It will be your expertise that the client will think, right, okay, I'm going to take a risk, fly that person over and start, you know, give them an opportunity. You need to think about these firms spend a lot of money on recruitment, and a bad hire. The REC did a kind of survey in the UK about the cost of a hire and if it goes wrong. So for a mid-level manager, it can cost a company £132,000 just on one bad hire. And that's a serious amount of money. You know, that kind of salary, it's about £45,000 per year. So they've cost that business a serious amount of money. So hiring managers are really aware of this. A bad hire can really cause a company upset in so many ways, shape and form. So Mohammed, if you have specialist experience in a project, or you have specialist experience in some way, shape or form that really makes you stand out, it really doesn't matter where you are. However, if you look at the global pandemic and the situation that we find ourselves in at the moment, there are a lot of people out there right now. Hiring managers have, well, like I said earlier, you know, our average applications per job are 750. If you don't know your strengths, and if you can't portray yourself in a way and coming from a position of strength, then you are not going to get chosen. So you may keep applying to jobs all day long, but you don't hear back. So I would really kind of hone in and maybe kind of send me a message, Mohammed. Let me know your situation in a little bit more detail so that I can help you out with a little bit more kind of insight into your situation right now. But thank you very much for your question. So a few mentions, John, great, we'll check that out, brilliant. Hi, engineer, is that actually your name? Or is it Mumtaz? Do you find it a little bit weird when people put their actual title before their name? We need to look into your kind of profile for that. So, and that's it, Mohammed. Okay, we've got another question, I think. Do we make a separate CV for every job we apply? So if you've been watching week after week, you'll know that I'm a massive advocate for CV tailoring. However, that doesn't mean to say that I want you to lie. If you haven't, if you haven't had that job title, first of all, if you don't have the year's experience, if you don't have the project experience, forget it. Don't waste your time on applying. Focus on other companies that are right for you. So I would always do a bit of research into all of these businesses. Have you worked on similar kind of projects? I mean, I'm assuming most of you are working in construction, seeing as my network is mostly construction, but this works in any kind of industry. Say it's graphic design, for example, or marketing. Have you worked on those kind of projects that that business is working on right now? If yes, you're going to have a much higher chance of being selected for interview. But yes, I do recommend that you tailor your CV to every job that you apply to, but only if you have that experience. So let me explain. Again, I know I'm going around the houses a little bit, but say you have, this client wants an architect with Revit experience. If they're specifying Revit as a kind of number one, you need to be an expert. And most companies these days test people at interview stage. You're going to look really silly if you come out of that test with a poor score. So I would always kind of, give yourself a bit of self-critiquing. Are you great? In your last role, did you teach people? So if they're looking for someone with Revit, they're looking for someone with a level of excellence. So did you start to teach people in your company, or were you being taught? If you were being taught, then the likelihood of that company selecting you for interview and you actually being awarded the job is going to be that much lower if you haven't had, a good solid background in Revit. So yes, I would always tailor your CV to every job. Like I said earlier, if you go to a party and meet someone for the first time, you don't want to give them all the information. It overloads the hiring manager, and it's so overwhelming. I know there's a lot of people out there who think, oh, I'll give them all my experience just in case. And you just need to focus. It's like a horse with blinkers. If they've got lots of things that they're looking at here, there, and everywhere, they get a bit distracted. So focus, get those blinkers on, and make them focus on the experience that's relevant to the job that you're applying to. But thank you very much for that question, Mohammed. Love it. Let me know how you get on. Oh, here we go. Because I get no reply on LinkedIn when this probably is one of the reasons, and probably the first reason why you're not getting replies. Right, few mentions. Gitta, thank you very much. Mohammed, yes, in the country, okay. So I've answered that right, but definitely send me a message, please. Magdi, hi, good to see you here. Ivan, hello people. Start connecting with each other, by the way, saying let's connect. This is about you guys and trying to find a job, but also, I've got a massive network here, use it. Even if somebody on here and you connect now and they don't have a job for you, they might have a job for you in the future, and it's always, always good to get those connections going. So say let's connect, and connect with everyone, please. Thanks for this live cast, it's really helping. Oh, thank you, Hudson. That's really kind of you. Do you have any questions? You're very welcome, Mohammed. Very welcome. If you've got any more questions, let me know. Right. Million time. Okay. Right. Million time I applied for job, but no response. This is so common with job seekers. And I do understand job seeking is super hard work. That is a given. So you need to make it as easy for you as possible. And this might sound a little bit back to front, but as a recruiter, we see thousands of CVs a day, and I can't tell you. So only 1% of applications ever make it to interview. So that should give you a little bit of insight as to how many CVs are not sending the right message. And by sending the right message, even giving the basics, there's so many CVs out there and that read like you've just come out of school. I'm a highly motivated individual with 10 years experience. Well, everyone's highly motivated when you're reading thousands of CVs. Everyone's highly motivated about getting a job, but that doesn't give the hiring manager enough of a reason to want to hire you. So this is why I talk about tailoring and really getting to grips in your mind about what you offer as an individual. And if you want to kind of learn this, if you want to kind of understand what your FABs or features and benefits are, please go to aeacademy.ae. There's a CV writing course. You'll have to answer about 60 questions and really kind of think about what you can offer. And when I look at a CV and the communications that come across from job seekers, they are very, very generic. No one wants generic. You know, no hiring manager thinks, oh, I would love a generic person sat next to me. He's going to be awesome. You know, we want to work with people that we make an emotional connection with. We want to kind of look forward to getting into the office. So make sure that your communication, Mukesh, is directed, first of all, that your cover letter or email, and I would suggest email more than cover letter. I'm not a massive fan of cover letters because most of them over the years have been conditioned to kind of read the email, then read the cover letter. It's exactly the same. Oh, and then go into the CV, and the CV summary is the same. I'm bored 3 times in a row. So, you know, what we want to see as hiring managers or recruiters, we want to see a bit about your personality. Why should we recruit you? What makes you the chosen one? So we want to see a bit about your personality, tailor your initial email to the hiring manager and the company itself. I mean, that goes over and above. If I look through my inbox, every email's the same. There's those 1% less than that who, like, they tell a joke or they know something about me that no one else has kind of paid attention to. So automatically I will give them time of day because they've kind of, you know, they've stood out. They've gone over and above what most people will. And that's what you want from an employee. You want someone who's going to go over and above. You don't want them to tell you, oh yeah, my name's Hayley, I will go over and above if you hire me. It kind of falls on deaf ears, doesn't it? I think, you know, me getting myself out there, me kind of doing all of these LinkedIn lives, I'm different from everyone else. And this is what you need to think about, Mukesh. What makes you different from all the other applicants that were out there? You know, don't start sending your CV out to hundreds or even thousands of people and expecting something to change if you haven't had any response so far. Change your manner and how you start applying stuff, and I guarantee you'll start getting response. So, but thank you so much for your question. Woo, we've got lots of questions here today, guys. So I'm here for another half an hour. Keep them coming. And if not, by the way, I will always come back and go through the questions and give as many answers as I can. Also, while I'm pausing for a second, I do get a lot of you sending me private messages, answer these after these live feeds. If you would like help with your CV, if you would like to tailor your CV to the jobs that you're applying to, and if you want any help with that, please go to aeacademy.ae. I've put courses together to especially help you guys, and it's got CV templates, rules, how to put these CV summaries together, who you should be applying to, and it's literally A to Z of the hiring process, and it just makes it a whole lot easier. None of this scattergun approach to like, just send my CV out everywhere and hope that it sticks. It just needs to be more refined. We want quality, not quantity, when it comes to a job search. Right, so if you could put QU or an emoji in front, that would be really handy. John, the competition with job seekers nowadays is expected salary. Well, I tried applying a step higher from my current position, assuming lower expected salary to be better. Does that make sense? No. I know what you're trying to say. I think you're trying to say that if it's a higher position, you expect more salary. If you're in the Middle East, this is a really difficult question to answer, actually. So in the Middle East, it depends on the company. And to be fair, maybe it does depend on, give me a second. So it depends on company to company. If I look at architecture, for example, this is the industry that I've grown up in. There's architectural practices, there's developers, there's contractors. Architectural practices, so the boutique-y kind of firms, they do tend to pay less than especially the developers or the contractors. Contractors, if you look at kind of a project as a whole, the developers and the contractors earn a much bigger percentage of the overall contract. So they're able to pay a lot more. So John, it depends what kind of companies you're applying to, so that I mean, message again, and I might be able to answer that in a more informed kind of state, but it all depends on the firm. So I would start kind of looking at different, and don't ever get, if you're in this situation, John, don't ever feel dejected in any way, shape or form. This happens. You just need to keep this like hamster wheel going around of applying to jobs and researching the companies. What kind of clients do they work with? You know, it will give you a lot of information once you start researching these businesses. Do they have that kind of money? Does that sit with you? Does that sit with your your current salary and your expectations for the future? I think when we get into these salary conversations, it's kind of a difficult conversation to have on quite a lot of levels. You know, there's a lot of people out there who think, well, I'm on this salary, and Joe Bloggs at the neighbouring company is earning like 50% more than me. It happens, and it does happen, but they are being paid for their experience. So if I were you, and if you feel this way, either change the companies that you're applying to, John. So start researching similar companies to the company that you're at or that you've just left. They are going to be on a par to the salary level that you're currently on. So start researching other companies on the same kind of companies. Always, I'm going to go off on a little tangent. So if you've got a business, so if a company comes to me and said, right, Hayley, I want an architect, I will, as a recruiter, go and research the companies that they hire from. Your success rate will be so much higher if you understand which companies will be interested in your details in the first place. There'll also be similar kind of salaries, because your company's competitors literally swap staff. So it makes it that much easier. You'll have similar kind of work ethics, this kind of thing, and it makes it so much easier as a hiring manager to just kind of cherry pick these people and go, right, you're perfect, we'll sit you here. We know that you'll get along really well with everyone in this business. And like I said earlier, you know, a wrong hire can be really, really costly. So it stops or it minimizes that risk. But thank you very much for your question, John. I hope that answered it. So Niju, that's a few mentions here. Niju, Mukesh, can you share a CV format? It may help. Yes, please go on to aeacademy.ae, Mukesh. If you register there, you'll get free CV templates. So super easy. Right. Thusif? I hope I got that right. I apologize if not. Hi, should I disclose my current salary to the interviewer? Can you explain how to negotiate salaries? So we are in seriously difficult times right now, and I don't know your level, because it also depends on hierarchy, all sorts. But I kind of need a little bit more information on this one. I think, personally speaking, if I was to put my recruiter's hat on, there's a lot of choice out there for hiring managers. And because of the year that we've had, there's not a lot of kind of available cash that I think most businesses are going to be trying to recoup. So I think being realistic would always make you stand out, and make you stand out in so many ways. So first of all, I would be honest. So I would say, look, this is my current salary. I'm looking for more than that. It depends if you're out of work as well. So some hiring managers, just on a slight tangent again, some hiring managers will look at somebody who's out of work and see that as a window of opportunity to recruit someone on a slightly lesser salary. Now, I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing if you can see some sort of trajectory. So what I would kind of say to a hiring manager is, right, this is my salary right now. This is what I'm kind of thinking about. However, I really want to work for you. So what do you think I'm worth? And what do you think I'm worth, I think, is a really good starting point for negotiation. It also tells you a lot about that person, the company, and how you'll be treated in the future. If you get somebody who, say you're on 15,000 a month, and they say, right, I want to pay you 5. You're not going to really want to work for them. But you've put the ball back in their court, so you can gauge whether that's acceptable to you. I think, like I say, going back to the year that we've had and we're still in, I'd be super careful about giving a salary that's kind of a wild salary. I mean, I do say to, you know, the clients that we deal with on under AE recruitment, never ask someone what they want. Never ask a job seeker what they want as a salary, because it's like asking a child what they want for Christmas. So if you as an individual are being asked that question, make it realistic. You know, don't pick a wild salary thinking that you deserve it. Say, look, this is what I'm on. And say you've taken a pay decrease, just literally be honest with the hiring manager. Because as a business, you want employees who are trustworthy, first and foremost. So you're setting your stall out right from the outset. And I think that is the best piece of advice that I can give. I think you should disclose your salary, but you should just be honest about what you're on. And it's, yeah, if you've had a pay decrease, etc., see how they react. And that will give you a lot of information about whether you want to work for that business or not. But also ask about the opportunities. You know, it's not all about salary. It shouldn't all be about salary. It should be about progression in so many ways, shapes and form. So make a list about what's important to you and then put that across to the hiring manager so that you can negotiate on those bases. So maybe you want a car, I don't know, or a phone. There's always ways of negotiating a salary that isn't always just money in your bank. Maybe you want a car, maybe you want travel expenses, maybe you want this, that, and the other. There's lots of routes to go down this. So if you want to send me a message so that I can give you a bit more context into what your question is, then I'll come back to you later on today. Thank you very much, Lisa. Lewis. Oh, I'm getting my knickers in a twist. It's right. Oh, Joe. Hi, Joe Lamb. So lovely to see you. Haven't seen you for a long time. Hi. Lovely to hear from you. Right. So again, if everyone can put a QU or question or emoji in front, that would be awesome. Right, Abdul, I knew you'd come back. What do recruiters actually want to hear when they ask the question, tell me about yourself? What do recruiters want to hear? Well, is it better to have the answer prepared and practice beforehand? I am just trying to prepare notes on how to represent myself the best way possible and not bore the recruiter. Right, so I don't know whether you're really meaning recruiter or HR manager. So is it someone in-house or is it a recruiter, so a recruiter who's working for a lot of different companies? So what do recruiters want to hear? I think fundamentally, we just want to know who you are as an individual. I go on about this week on week. It's about making an emotional connection with that individual, any way, shape or form. You know, if you really upset a hiring manager or a recruiter, they don't forget. So you want to make the experience with them as pleasurable as possible. So I would just be like, right, I mean, if that was me, if somebody asked me that, tell me about yourself. Well, I'm a recruiter. Actually, I probably sound a bit boring. You know, I would probably be a bit quirky, but I'd have to hear the tone in that individual's voice in the first place to kind of answer that. Well, what would you like to hear? You know, I'd kind of back the question back and put a bit of personality into it. You know, I can tell you about this, I can tell you about that. What would you like to know? I'd probably ask a few more questions, but get your personality out there. That's the first and foremost, because like I say, week in, week out, that emotional connection with an individual is super important. Like Joe, who just messaged, I remember who he worked for. I remember where we sent his CV, etc., etc. You know, once you make that emotional connection with someone, you do not forget them. And that's the key when it comes to getting yourself out there, your personal brand, recruitment, and job seeking. Not just now. I mean, just don't think of it as a now thing. All these connections that you're making on a daily, weekly basis, that maybe you don't get the job, or maybe they don't have a vacancy for you, but getting yourself out there constantly on LinkedIn, you know, you start to see and get an insight to that individual as a person. Oh, I think he would quite fit in here. He would work really well with so-and-so. And that's what hiring managers want to see. You know, they don't really, hiring managers don't really want to be advertising their jobs on LinkedIn or any job boards. And in actual fact, 80% of jobs are never advertised anyway. But they want to make their lives as easy as possible. So as soon as you make an emotional connection with an individual, they won't forget you. And they'll constantly be thinking, oh, I've got this job. Will Abdul fit in with that job? And they'll start thinking this way, like, okay, we've got these people, I really like them. Can we make this work? Because personality-wise, these two would be awesome together. And that's what they want as a business. They want everyone to walk through the door every day, you know, can't wait to get to work. That's the kind of environment that hiring managers and businesses want to create. They want to be trying to shove you out at the end of the day. Not that they will, but, you know, good hiring managers, good bosses will say, hang on, you know, this is great. Come on, let's get to the pub, or let's go for a meal or whatever. You know, they want a great team that they want to work with. So start making those emotional connections with people. Thank you so much, Abdul. So great to have you back. Right, and Iman, any advice with career shift? So I would always look at where you are, those transferable skills, and where you want to be. And this kind of goes for everyone anyway. You know, if you kind of have aspirations to remember that sock thing. If you have aspirations to hit a level, start kind of looking at those people. So who do you aspire to be? Where do you want to go? And I would go and contact those people and say, right, how did you get from here to here? What kind of, what did you have to learn? Yeah, really pinpoint with that individual. So have a conversation with the individual and ask lots of questions. This is where I am right now, and I really see myself in your kind of role, but I would like to understand how to get there. So start fact finding. You then need to start positioning yourself, and it's recruitment and hiring is all about positioning. What kind of narrative are you giving, not just yourself, but the hiring manager? It starts from within, and then you can be more confident about the message that you're giving to the hiring manager. So really start thinking about where you want to be and then start working backwards. And it's so much easier when you look at it like that. Thank you so much for your question, Iman. Right. Joe, here we go. Will there be a rebound in UAE market after COVID? After COVID? What's after COVID? First of all, I think it's here to stay, and it's here to stay for a while. So from our perspective, not from a academy, but AE recruitment is super, super busy right now. We've got clients that are just like, Hayley, I need 20 people in the next 3 months. And that's not just one. I think we've got about 3 or 4 right now. So there's a serious amount going on the front end, architectural wise, and in construction. I see it being really well. I mean, if architecture's seeing it, that is going to have a knock-on effect. We've got some massive projects out there in the Middle East, and they're all starting to kick off now, which is so great to see. You know, we've gone through a year of just tumbleweed, so it's really good to see people starting to move forward after COVID. I don't really know what that means, but we're seeing a lot of green shoots, so I see it as a really positive thing right now. So yeah. Thank you very much, Joe. So Talal, what would you suggest if someone would like to switch to another career within the same industry? So exactly what I just said to Aman, actually, I would start looking at those people that you aspire to, who, you want to be, and ask them, if it is within the same company, even, it really gives you an insight. If it is in the same company, if you do have somebody in the same company that is where you want to be, it makes it a whole lot easier, doesn't it? Because you can just wander up to their desk. Hey, how did you get here? I'd really like to know. I'm really aspiring to be this, that, whatever. Can we have a coffee or something? I'd just really like to get some more insights. I think there's so much opportunity out there. There's so many transferable skills, etc. Start networking and start fact finding about how to get there. Learn, and it is all about learning. There's these people who have got to these positions. They've made a super amount of mistakes along their journey. So start learning from them, and they could become your mentors, etc. People love when somebody comes to them and says, look, I really aspire to being you, or I really aspire what you've achieved in your career. Would you mind if I just have a little bit of your time just to get a little bit of insight so that I can learn and I can start making those movements in the right direction for me? We are all human at the end of the day, no matter what level. So start reaching out to people and start asking questions so that you can learn and develop further. Thank you very much, Tala. Right. Q. Sorry, Abdul, I can see your question above and I've lost train of thought now. So I'll come back to you afterwards. So Takas, thank you very much for putting Q. At my previous job, my job didn't actually have any targets, but recruiters often ask, what was your achievements in your previous company? I was a warehouse as administration staff. Can you help me to give a better answer for it? Yes. So what I would start, so actually as a recruiter, I do ask people this, and it gets people thinking in a more kind of entrepreneurial kind of way, I guess. Every single person in a company has value and worth. So you as an individual need to find out what that worth is. So you would have worked for a team. Your team will have targets in some way, shape or form. So whether that's monetary or conversions of some kind, I would start finding out and speaking to your manager about, okay, so what are your targets as a business? Because every manager has targets. How do I fare within the team? What do I bring to the team? And actually start, again, fact finding. I know it can be very difficult for some people to kind of think, oh, I've created this graphic design and that's what I do. I do graphic design. Well, yeah, you do graphic design, but that image that you've created would have generated some sort of monetary value in some way, shape, or form. So maybe it was used for a client as I don't know, in an advert. They would have got some return because of that image or that design. So start being more inquisitive in your day-to-day working life environment so that you can start learning about what businesses, hiring managers want to know about you, and not just about you. It's you can start leveraging this in your, I say not just about you, I scrap that comment. You can start leveraging this information when it comes to interviews, when it comes to your CV, when it comes to approaching hiring managers. You're like, hey, this is what I've done. This is the value that I bring to an organization, and this is what I can do for you. Essentially, don't say this is what I can do for you. Just, you just state it in a sense of, right, this was a brief, this is what I did, and this was return. Make it really, really simple. Don't need to kind of flounce it up. Facts and figures are always a great way to show someone your added value to a business. So you don't necessarily need to go into, you know, I'm super motivated. I'm, you know, get rid of these buzzwords. They mean nothing. Facts and figures. So start talking to your managers, start talking to the bosses above you, and start being really inquisitive as to their targets and how you fit into that. And then what can you do to grow in the business, but also use those targets and those facts and figures, etc., as part of your CV, as part of your introduction to hiring managers, and it comes across really well. I understand that you're warehouse administration, Takas, but your manager will have targets. I promise you that. So start asking him, right, okay, so how do I fit into this? And then you can start either leveling up further or learning new skills, and just be more mindful about where you want to go in your career. So find out what you need to do for your next steps to get on that next ladder run. But brilliant question. Thank you very, very much. Richie, oh, I love seeing same names week after week. By the way, everyone, if you know anyone who's looking for a job right now, get them on here next week. I want to hear their questions and start kind of helping them as well. You know, let's build this community for everyone so that they feel comfortable asking these questions and getting themselves out there in a completely different manner. So, Richie, hi Hayley, I have a question. I really want to work for a certain company and I've applied before but didn't get a response. How should I go? How long should I wait until I send rejection letter? How long should I wait? Should I try again? How many times is too many? Right. Okay, so I'm going to ignore that kind of rejection bit for now. So with any company that you're, you know, your heart is super set on working for them, sometimes, you know, I say sometimes, these businesses have a clear vision of the individuals that they want to hire. Doesn't always mean that you're right, unfortunately. I know that can be a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, the truth sometimes. However, what I would advise is don't kind of contact these companies saying, I'm looking for a job. Have you got anything? They'll have thousands, hundreds and thousands of people saying this. So what I would always advise is saying, you know, I would kind of do the backdoor route. If you know anyone in that company, start just being more inquisitive. Like I've said earlier on, you know, what do I need to learn to be considered to be hired for your company? I've seen the work that you do. I'm super keen to be involved, but what do I need to do to get there? Not only are you showing that you're really keen to work for them, you're also showing that you're prepared to go over and above what anyone else will. Because guaranteed, everyone will say, I need this, I need that, I want a job, I. So start moving it back. Start saying, right, okay, I really want to work for this firm, but what do I need to learn? Are my skills on a par? If not, you know, just again, fact find. We all have these aspirations, but I think it's about your personal brand. Your personal brand is about how you put yourself across. Every employer, every hiring manager wants someone that will go over and above, and your conduct says everything. If you're saying, oh, do you have a job? Do you have a job? It is like, oh, as a recruiter on the other side or hiring manager, it's like, oh, I've got a lot of these messages. So just start behaving differently, and then you will start to get response. So also, I know we say this week on week, Richie, but start making those emotional connections with these people. You're not always going to get response because people are completely overloaded. And remember, recruitment is not their job. That's not their number one priority. You know, they didn't go to university for years or whatever to start doing recruitment. It is the bane of their life. Hiring managers do not enjoy it. So make it an enjoyable experience for them in some way, shape or form. start tailoring your CV, start putting in, you know, like quirky kind of pieces of information, start finding out, fact finding about that individual that will make them stop in their day and think, oh, which is different. So I would start kind of researching about these people. And I also wouldn't hound someone for a decision on your profile. If they're not getting back to you, don't focus on it, move on. You know, you need to keep this wheel turning until you find the right job for you. Kind of stopping the wheel and going back to that hiring manager. Have I got it? Have I got it? Have I got it? You're keeping yourself stuck. So keep this forward momentum. Forget about it. You may want to work for them. Great. But A, do they have a job? B, are you right? Fact find, do all the right things on that side, but keep forward momentum going and just keep applying to other jobs. Keep applying and networking, I'd say, more than applying to job boards, recruiters, etc. If you're not right for the job, they will come back to you if they've got something right for you. I promise you that. So I would start networking more, fact finding about hiring managers, and keep that forward momentum. But thank you very much for your question, Richie. Really good to see you again. The downside of having Apple. Thanks very much, Richie. So, Iman, you are very welcome. Thank you very much for being here today. So, we've only got four minutes roughly. I will answer the next couple of questions and then keep your questions coming and I'll answer them throughout the day. So, Abdul, question. How do you approach an interviewer after an unsuccessful interview? What means it's is this your assumption that is unsuccessful? I want to connect with them to improve my professional circle, especially in case, yeah. So this is perfect. Definitely, when you've had an interview with anyone, please, please, please start reaching out to them. You know, they are human at the end of the day. And also, you need to be posting on LinkedIn. You need them to keep thinking about who you are all the time. Like, oh yeah, Abdul. Oh, we had a great interview. We didn't have anything for him at that moment in time, but we do have something in the future. So as long as you keep like posting, I would definitely say for anyone out there who is going through interviews, always message after your interview and say, thank you so much. I really valued this or that. You know, bring in some of your conversation that you were talking about in your interview and start, you know, just appearing a little bit more human. I know interviews can be super stressful and we lose ourselves when it gets to a really stressful situation. We become this like robot. Yes, I work in architecture. You know, start kind of behaving like a human and just reaching out. We all appreciate, like, I don't know if any of you out there have interviewed a serious amount of people, but a lot of people put stress on themselves. And hiring managers, recruiters do know that. We recognize that. We know the people who are really struggling at that point. So always reach out. Always do your homework before your interview so you're not so nervous. But always reach out afterwards. It shows you're human. It, again, forming that emotional connection with that individual, but also bring in little points from your interview that were funny, or they're just little points that you thought, oh yeah, I like that. I liked that about that person or something. I don't know. There will be moments. But thank you very much, Abdul. Takas, we've got another one. Right. You have a bachelor's degree and you are applying for a qualification that requires high school. Why are you applying for a high school qualification? I have no idea. Look, that's just a minimum. I'm assuming that this is a job application, or it's a job that you've seen online. If they've put a high school qualification, that's just a minimal qualification. I would kind of ignore that. If you've got more than that, then woohoo. You know, it depends what the position is. I'm really sorry, Takas. Maybe you could give me a bit of an insight, send me a message offline or DM me, whatever, and I will answer that in a more kind of thorough manner. So I think we're coming up to an hour. Richie, you're so very welcome. Right. Okay, we've got a couple more. I'll keep going. If you have a job requires 10 years minimum experience and you have to choose between two candidates, who would you choose? One highly skilled but with 8 years experience, two average skilled with 12 years experience. So personally, I mean, I think age is just a number. I think years experience is just a number. I personally would always look for someone that has drive, someone that has ambition, and someone that would fit in really well with my team. You know, you can teach these skills, but you can't teach personality. You can't teach drive. So personally speaking, I would always advise my clients, go for that person, because they are going to create such an awesome vibe in the office. And it's about creating an environment that everyone wants to work in every day. So yeah, average skilled, I wouldn't be so inclined with 12 years. And I also wouldn't be focused on the years experience at all, really. I say at all. You know, you want people with a certain amount of years under their belt if you're looking at managerial or kind of intermediate managerial, etc. But there are like some really super high flyers out there who have next to no experience, but they, you know, their minds are way ahead of anyone else. And for me personally, I'd be choosing those because they show in their manner, their behavior, everything. They embody this work ethic that everyone feeds off. And that's what you want in a business. So I would always go for those. But thank you very much for that question. That was an awesome question. Right. Oh, Gary. Hi, Gary. So good to have you back. When are we going to have our coaching session, by the way? I'm going to start holding you. Right. So I'm going to finish up the questions for today. Please keep posting. Lots of questions. I didn't get to dip into some of the questions that have been sent to me offline. But I will get back to you guys, I promise. So tomorrow, I've got something to tell you. I've got Caroline Langston on with me. She's from Hong Kong. We're both ex-recruiters, both going into the coaching world, and she deals with really high level. So, and has some awesome advice that's a little bit different from mine. She's got a slightly different background. So it's really good for you guys to kind of get a bit of an insight into her world as well and what works for her clients. So please join tomorrow. It's 10 a.m. UK time, which will be 1 p.m. GST. And I really look forward to having you on board tomorrow. Hopefully I can see the same names tomorrow. But please keep posting your questions. I always get confused with this. And I will keep answering throughout the day. Also, if you want like your help with your CV, etc., if you want to learn how to tailor your CV to the jobs that you're applying to, please go to aeacademy.ae. There's lots of courses on there. We're just about to publish a course called CV Tailoring so that you can specifically learn how to tailor your CV to the jobs that you are applying to. And honestly, I can't tell you how much difference it makes. Like I said at the beginning, I used to tailor every CV for the job applicants that would apply to my vacancies as a recruiter. Unfortunately, can't do that anymore because we have 750 people applying to every job, so it's impossible. However, I have put together a course teaching you exactly what to do. So that will go live this week. If you want to be informed about that, send me a private message or whatever, and I will send you the link as soon as it goes live. So we are here tomorrow with Caroline. Really hope to see you tomorrow, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Take care.